You have 1 hour to pack your things and leave. Those were the exact words my son Jacob said to me, standing in the kitchen of the house I'd poured 30 years of my life into. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. He just looked at me with that flat, entitled stare he'd perfected since his mother died, then flicked a crumpled 5 and 2 singles onto the counter like he was tipping a waiter who'd annoyed him. $7. That was my net worth in his eyes. Rachel and the kids need space, he added, as if that explained everything. You're holding us back, Dad. Time to figure your own shit out. I didn't argue. I didn't cry. I just nodded, walked upstairs, and stuffed a duffel with the only clothes that still fit me right. A couple of photos of Emily and the old debit card she'd pressed into my palm on her last good day. For when they forget who built this family, she'd whispered. I promised I'd only use it if things got truly dark. 6 years later, here I was, 61, gray at the temples, walking out of my own front door with $7 and a lump in my throat that felt like it might choke me. My name is Thomas Reed. Most people just call me Tom. I was never the loud one, never the guy who needed the spotlight. Emily and I started Reed Supply back in '92 with a second-hand truck and a loan from her parents. I did the books, the ordering, the quiet grind that kept the lights on. Jacob was the face. Charming, loud, the one clients loved at the golf outings. After Emily's cancer took her, I let him take the wheel. I was grieving, exhausted, and stupid enough to believe blood meant loyalty. He moved Rachel and the grandkids into the big house within 8 months. At first, it felt like the natural order. Then the little cuts started. He'd forget to invite me to family dinners, but leave the dishes for me to wash. Rachel would sigh loudly when I asked about the business numbers. Tom, we've got it handled. At Thanksgiving one year, Jacob actually joked in front of 20 relatives that I was basically retired on our dime. Everyone laughed. I laughed too, because that's what I've been trained to do. Keep the peace. Be the steady one. The dad who never made waves. I told myself it was temporary. That once the grief loosened its grip, he'd remember who taught him how to read a P&L sheet. That day with the $7 proved how wrong I was. The betrayal wasn't the eviction. It was how casually he did it. Like I was an old appliance taking up closet space. I walked the 4 miles to the bank because I couldn't stomach calling anyone. My legs ached, my back screamed, but the rage was still quiet, coiled somewhere behind my ribs. I pulled out Emily's card at the teller window, the one I'd carried in my wallet like a talisman I was too scared to test. Just the balance, please, I said, voice hoarse. I need to know how much I got left. The young woman, maybe 25, name tag said Mia, swiped it, typed, then froze. Her face drained of color so fast I thought she might faint. She spun the monitor around. The numbers hit me like a freight train. $4,287,614.72. Not a savings account, not some sentimental nest egg, the main operating account for Reed Supply, the same account that paid every mortgage, every supplier, every salary for the last 6 years. Primary owner, Thomas Reed. Authorized users, Jacob Reed, secondary only, revocable at any time. And attached in the notes section, a scanned letter from Emily dated 3 weeks before she passed. My husband is the sole decision maker. If our son ever puts his comfort above his father's dignity, Tom, you pull the plug. No guilt. This was always yours. I stared until the screen blurred. 6 years of being treated like a charity case. 6 years of Jacob signing bonuses for himself while I ate canned soup in the basement. And the whole time, the empire was still mine. Emily had made sure of it. She never trusted his ego, and she'd protected me the only way she knew. Quietly, legally, permanently. Something inside me shifted right there under those fluorescent lights. Not anger exactly, more like a door slamming shut on the man I used to be. The one who apologized for existing. The one who kept giving chances because he's my son. That man died in that moment. The new one didn't feel the need to explain himself to anyone.
I didn't yell. I didn't call Jacob screaming. I just asked Mia to freeze all secondary cards effective immediately and connect me with the bank's trust attorney on speaker. 20 minutes later, it was done. Legal notices went out by email and certified mail. I walked out of that bank with a new debit card, a printed statement thick as a phone book, and the first real breath I'd taken since Emily's funeral. The phone started exploding before I even reached the cheap motel I'd booked with my first withdrawal. $200 for a room that smelled like old cigarettes and hope. Jacob's texts came in waves. "Dad, what the fuck? My cards just got declined at the club. The suppliers are calling, saying the account's locked." Rachel tried the soft approach. "Tom, we can talk about this. The kids miss you." I read every one. I didn't reply to a single one. I sat on the edge of that lumpy bed and felt the weight I'd been carrying for years finally slide off my shoulders. There was a flicker of guilt, maybe 30 seconds, where I wondered if I was being cruel. Then I remembered the $7 on the counter and the way he'd smirked when he said, "Old man." The guilt evaporated. Within 48 hours, the business ground to a halt. Employees showed up to locked doors, and under new management notices I'd had the attorney post. Clients who'd only ever dealt with Jacob started calling me directly, old relationships I'd quietly maintained for decades. I didn't gloat. I simply redirected the profitable accounts to a new LLC I opened the next morning. The house, still in my name. The mortgage had always been paid through the company account. Jacob received an official 30-day notice to vacate. Legal, clean, airtight. I watched it all unfold from a distance, the way you watch a storm you knew was coming. Family group chat turned into a circus, cousins who'd ignored me for years suddenly asking what happened. Rachel's sister posted passive-aggressive memes about toxic parents. Jacob tried one last Hail Mary, showed up at the motel with bloodshot eyes and a sob story about how he'd lost perspective. I opened the door, looked at the boy I'd once carried on my shoulders, and felt nothing. Not hate, not love. Just the absence of responsibility. "I'm not coming back, Jacob," I said quietly, "and you're not welcome here. You wanted me gone. I'm granting your wish permanently." He stood there blinking like I'd slapped him. The power had flipped so fast his brain couldn't keep up. I closed the door gently. No yelling, no drama, just the soft click of a lock I finally turned on the past. 3 months later, I bought a small place by the lake. Nothing flashy, just mine. The business is smaller now, but it's profitable and honest. I hired back the employees Jacob had treated like disposable labor. I sleep through the nights without the old knot in my stomach. Sometimes I drive past the big house and see the for sale sign. Sometimes I see Jacob working a sales job at a big box store, the same forced smile he used to give clients when he wanted something. I don't stop, I don't wave, I just keep driving. I didn't destroy my son. I simply stopped protecting him from the consequences of who he really was. If you enjoy stories about betrayal, revenge, and justice served cold, subscribe for more daily stories.